What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about the Lions' second round pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, DeAndre Swift. Let's get it started. Alright everybody, so in last video, our last analysis / grade video, we talked about Jeffrey Okudah because that was our first round pick. If you guys have not seen that, definitely go back and check it out. It's not something that you need to stop this video and go look at because, it's not something that needs to be in order, but, it does help to know all the prospects, and we are going to be breaking them down more than what I did with my quick overview day after day. So I broke these guys down more, I learned more about them, I watched them, and that's exactly what this series is kind of. Now, the support for the highlight reactions wasn't crazy, and that's okay. We may not bring that back, we may, I'm not sure. We'll see. I just go off what gets the most support because I feel like that's what most people want to see. That's kind of how I gauge things. So, I put out what I like to do, what I like to see, but at the same time, like if something is really popping, I'll try to stick with that because that lets me know that you guys want to see that. So if there is a series, there's something that you want to see come back, make sure you go like that, make sure you go share it, try to get other people to go to that because that's kind of how I do things. Just letting you guys know, and that's okay. That's how I want it to be. I want it to be something that you guys like. So that's always my goal, to find the videos that everybody wants to like, that everybody likes, and everybody, enjoys watching. So that's kind of the goal of this. And this is also a place where I hopefully can teach you a few things maybe you didn't know about these players. I don't want to necessarily just tell you everything you do know because ESPN's got you on that. If you want to know he's a running back out of Georgia, there you go. I want to go a little bit deeper. I want to give you guys that inside information, the inside scoop on some of these players that you can't just get anywhere, right? This is something that I give you over here. This is something that I go into detail with, and I know numbers that maybe you didn't know before, and that's the goal. I'm trying to show everybody new things that I learned. So he's a 5'8", 212-pound running back. Yes, very into detail there, but this is a running back out of Georgia who was given a 6.78 prospect grade, which means they believe he'll be a quality year one starter. That was by NFL. They do this with all their prospects. I don't know if it means that much. I don't know how accurate they are with these. They really gave Jeffrey Okudah a high grade. They gave him like the second highest grade he could get. I don't know if these are super accurate or how well they pan out or how often they do. I just thought I would point that out. He ran a 4.48 40-yard dash time, which is very solid. It's like basically the same as Jeffrey Okudah. A 35.5-inch vertical, 121-inch broad jump. I know there are a couple of concerns. We will definitely touch on those as well. We're going to touch on the pros and cons. We're going to look at some overviews, and then we'll give him his grade. So let's start off with the overview. The overview by the NFL, this is how they looked at him. They thought that he was a quick cut type of running back that did a very good job of reading the holes, finding the holes, and he was very aware, but he doesn't have that home run explosiveness, and he's not as violent of a runner as guys like Josh Jacobs in the past. So he's not like that. He's just a very smart, kind of aware running back. That's pretty much at one cut, and that kind of gives me a little bit of the sense of Kerryon Johnson. However, I do think he does have a little bit more juice than Kerryon Johnson has when it comes to finishing off a play. I feel like a lot of times, in big runs for Kerryon, he would burst there, but he would end up getting caught. I think there's a better chance DeAndre Swift doesn't get caught in a lot of those. Now, sometimes you do because people are just fast, but I think Swift has a little bit more, kick when he's going to that second level. So that's kind of my take on that, because some guys are just extremely fast. I actually think Jason Huntley is more of that if you want to talk about just speed in general, but I do think DeAndre Swift is a little bit quicker when it comes to, getting out there and just turning it on and getting to the end zone. They also do believe that he can be an every down back, and he has potential to be the offensive rookie of the year for 2020. So that was the overview by NFL. Obviously some good signs in there. Obviously, them believing he could be the offensive rookie of the year. It's awesome. I don't know the last time we've had one of those. I don't know. It's definitely been a while. I know we had Ndamukong Suh. I think he was the defensive rookie of the year back in 2010. I don't know if he's have anybody. I don't know if we've had anybody since that time that's won an award like that. So it'd be really cool to see DeAndre Swift get something like that. But I just like if he helped us out and hopefully we win some football games. But let's look at some pros and cons about DeAndre Swift that I got up here. So the first pro is his ability to be a receiving back. Now I don't mean just a guy that can not play, is so good at receiving that he's a wide receiver. Antonio Gibson, for example. But I think he's one of the best receiving backs in this class for purely being a running back, right? Antonio Gibson probably is the best receiving back, but he's also a wide receiver. So, he's not really just a running back. DeAndre Swift is just a running back, right? You don't throw him out there a wide receiver and, throw it to him like that. You put him at running back, but he catches the ball very, very well out of the backfield in that Georgia offense. And that's something that kind of just sparks the memory of Theo Riddick right away. Theo Riddick was one of my favorite running backs, and I felt like he did really well with Matthew Stafford. And I haven't heard much about Theo Riddick since he's left the Detroit Lions. I feel like Matthew Stafford finds a way to make guys that like catching the ball in the backfield thrive in the Detroit Lions offense. So I think that's awesome, and I think that's a huge reason they went with a guy like this, because Matthew Stafford has really good connections with running backs out of the backfield. And the Lions really don't have a guy that's known for that right now, right? That was theoretic. That was J.D. McKissick. But with Ty Johnson now, Bo Scarborough, Kerryon Johnson, they really don't have that, okay? I mean, Kerryon Johnson bobbled that screen all the way to the end zone, so they don't really have that. He's also not a workhorse, and this is something that's looked at as a positive and a negative. Some people, like for example, Jonathan Taylor. This dude is a workhorse. He had like almost 1,000 carries in total, and people thought, that's great because, he's getting the ball all the time. He can carry that offense, but it's also a little bit worrisome. Some people always say, like, oh, you can overwork a running back in college. Like Alabama used to do that kind of thing. They would overwork running backs in college, and that's why they would struggle in the NFL. So some people don't like that because they have a lot of tread, and they're already, they're vulnerable to things, and they're vulnerable to have a short career because they've already gotten so many carries. That's not DeAndre Swift. He has not had 500-plus snaps in any of the 3 seasons with Georgia. So he just doesn't have that much on him. He was pretty much a rotational back with Georgia, and that's what he's going to be with the Lions. Bob Quinn runs that kind of offense. This is why I think he fit really well. Looking back at the pick is because this isn't a guy that has a lot of tread. This is a guy that will be mixed in with other running backs. This isn't someone that's going to just carry the load like, for example, a Derrick Henry did last season. Now, he didn't do that before. Actually, Derrick Henry, I wouldn't. You know what? That's a bad example. Forget that. Scratch, I even said that because I don't think Derrick Henry had that many carries. But, some running backs are looked to carry the load, and DeAndre Swift won't. I mean, he'll help. I don't think he'll be an every down running back. I think he'll mix it in and out with Kerryon, and that should keep Kerryon healthy as well. So that's great. 31% of his rushes were actually a first down. So I thought I would point that out. I thought that was just a very interesting fact. Maybe, did you know that? Did you know that? All right, leave me in the comments below right now if you knew that stat. That is something that I came across. I thought it was very, very interesting. 31% of his carries equaled first downs. I thought that was pretty awesome. I'm like, wow, is that really a big deal? Maybe not, but it's kind of cool. So there you go. You don't get that everywhere. You don't get that everywhere. He also only dropped 3 of 90 targets at Georgia. 3 of 90 targets. I think it was 76 catchable passes, but 3 of 90 targets he, dropped. That was it. 3. That's what I'm saying. And that's a running back. That's not a wide receiver. A wide receiver, that's even good. But for running back, that's very good. It's a guy that's very reliable. Now, to go with that, catching ability, he's also very, very crisp with his route running, right? He looks like a wide receiver out of the backfield because, he can run all the routes, the little arrow route, little out route, little screen. He's very crisp with everything. And I think that's going to help Matthew Stafford. The timing should be a lot better when you have a guy like that in the backfield. We already know Matthew Stafford. Like I said, he thrives with guys that catch the ball out of the backfield. So that's great. He also has that perfect size to be a running back. 5'8", 212, low to the ground, maybe hard to see, low to earth, has great leverage. It's that kind of thing. He's a great size for running back. And now let's go to the cons, the unfortunate parts. The first one is that he has dealt with a few injuries here and there, a couple of injuries here and there. I think it was actually a shoulder injury that he played in 14 games last season, but only started 11 because of that. So he played through it. It wasn't anything that's super serious that held him out, but it was, something that was lingering a little bit. So I definitely need to point that out, but I don't think it's anything that's very serious that we think will be something that holds him back in the NFL. He's also, I wouldn't say he's the best out in the open field. I wouldn't say he's bad at it. I think he definitely makes a lot of good moves. I feel like a lot of times he actually makes the first guy miss, which I'm going to give Kerryon Johnson credit on this one. I feel like he did this a lot of times too, and I don't think he ever gets the credit for it. Maybe this is just my opinion, but I remember watching him in the Chargers game early in the year, before he got hurt. Man, this dude, every time a guy was in the backfield first, I felt like he always made a miss. It doesn't mean the play would break for something huge, and that's why his numbers weren't always great, but he always found a way to make that first guy miss. He's not the best running back, but he found a way, and I feel like I see that a little bit with DeAndre Swift as well. He finds a way to make that first guy miss, but I don't think he's the best out in space. I think there's other running backs that may be better at that. Maybe Clyde Edwards is better at that. Maybe J.K. Dobbins. So I don't think he's the best at that. I also think he's average at breaking tackles. Not only do you see that when you watch him on film, you also see that statistically. He's right about average when it comes to other running backs. His acceleration right when he gets it isn't insane. That's definitely something I should point out as well. I don't think he's one of the best running backs specifically. I think he's a great running back. I wouldn't say he's the best running back in this class when it comes to just purely running the football, but he does have a little bit less fumble concerns. I know people bring up his fumbles because I think he had 3 last season, but keep in mind 2 of them came in 1 game, so it was Georgia Tech, 2 of them came, but I don't think it's much as a concern as a guy like Jonathan Taylor, because I'm pretty sure last time I did the math on Taylor's fumbles, it was like 10% of the snap, every carry was a fumble. That can't be right. 10% is a lot. Maybe it was less than that, but it was still pretty high. I think it was definitely less than that, but it was still pretty high. So he's the guy that's worrying about fumbles. Swift, he had him here and there, but it wasn't anything that I felt like was super, super serious. So he has, a couple injuries here and there. He fumbles here and there. He's not a perfect running back, but his ability to catch the football in the backfield to me is the reason why the Lions took this guy. This is a guy that's not going to be, your number one guy. And I think that's huge. Let me make this point. I think a lot of times when you look at early round running backs, you usually think, okay, don't draft him if we're going to run by committee because it doesn't make sense. Coming into the draft, I thought that was something that we talked about a lot. And I think at the time, it makes a lot of sense. I didn't know tons about Swift. This was not a guy I focused on a lot. And when you looked and you think about top running backs, you think, okay, this guy's going to get a bulk of the carries wherever he goes. We're a team that likes to mix in different running backs. We don't use it like that. We're not just going to hand it to him all the time. We pass a lot. So a running back early doesn't make sense. But DeAndre Swift is that very, very good running back early that does that. He's not a guy that gets the carries all the time. He's a rotational back for the Lions. He can catch the football very, very well. He's like the perfect early round running back that the Lions could have. And I think that's why Bob Kuhn wanted him. I think if he wasn't there, I don't think he selects Jonathan Taylor. I don't think he selects J.K. Dobbins. He may. I don't think he selects maybe Clyde Edwards. But I think it was specifically DeAndre Swift's ability to catch the ball in the backfield and be a rotational running back at that high of a level. He's not just a guy that can do it. He does it at such a high level. And I think that's why Bob Quinn went that route, and that's why when they saw him on the board, they were like, okay, yeah, if this guy falls, we're going to take him, and if not, they probably would have won a pass rusher. That's kind of how I'm looking at this, and I think it's huge to get a new running back. I have preached this, that it's so important for the Lions to get a running back, and I love that this pick is going to take pressure off of Stafford. The Lions have never had a running game, but yet they're actually addressing that with two guards, a team that really hasn't had a healthy running back there. This is what the Lions needed to draft, and if you guys want to see a full rant, I'm going to send you to my day 2 picks breakdown, okay? Every pick after the day 2 live stream, I did a video. Go watch that. I break down why I think DeAndre Swift was a beautiful pick for the Detroit Lions, and I don't really want to do that again. There's no point in ranting. My voice is a little tired anyway, so there's no reason to do that. So overall, I think this is very good. I think it's going to help out Carrion. I think as well. I think it's going to help out Stafford. He's going to get a great weapon here. And I think overall, this is just good for the offense because this is something that we may have been missing for a while, and I have 2 very talented running backs in him and Carrion, and then some depth behind that. It will be really good. So I'm going to actually give this grade an A because I think this is someone that can fit right in. I think he's going to fit perfectly with how Darrell Bevell is going to run this offense. I don't think he's a guy that needs to take all the carries from someone. He's used to, playing in this kind of role, and I think he's going to be perfect. And I'm really emphasizing the Lions needing to put a running game behind Matthew Stafford. It's something we complain about all the time as Lions fans that protect Matthew Stafford and back him up. It's because he's never had a running game. But the Lions have actually addressed it this season. So I'm going to give it an A. I think that was a great pick. The fact that he fell there is potentially a day 1 talent. I never really looked at him because I never thought he would fall that far, and he did. So, yeah, I'm going to give this an A. I think this was a great pick, and, yeah, there will be some other grades. I know some people are sitting right now, oh, you grade all A's. I know people are typing that, so stop typing it. All right, there will be some other grades later on that are not A's. I just think these first 2 picks were very, very good. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts, comments below. Thank you for watching, and I'm out.